From classics to children's books, you never know what she's gonna cook when Gretchen makes novel moms.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Novel Noms. I've missed you. I know you've missed me. I just want to catch you up on some things that have been going on since I left. One of the most exciting additions to my family is soon to be a KitchenAid mixer. Not pregnant, don't even think about that. I already have like the attachments. I got an ice cream maker and a meat grinder. I'm very excited about that, and that will definitely be appearing in some new episodes. And I don't have it yet because it's not my birthday yet, and that's my birthday present for my 40th birthday. Yeah. Another new addition to the family, a little bit more difficult to take care of, a little annoying, but adorable as all get out, is Josie. Come here. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, she's so big. Oh. This is Josephine. She was 14 pounds when we got her, and now she's almost 40, and she wants to get down. But she says hi! Okay. Okay, so, because I took some time off, I wanted to think, like, what could I do to make it a little bit different, a little bit more interesting, and I thought we'd make it like a challenge-oriented season. We're going to call this my season, my full season. And I know a lot of you said you love the challenges where my husband does the mystery box, and I think we're going to do a lot more. Maybe every other episode we'll do that. But then I was thinking that maybe you guys could give me challenges. Not so much like here's a book and here's a food, but just like, you know, I dare you, or I would really love to see you try and make escargot, but don't suggest that because I won't make it. I already had some challenges. Somebody gave me some challenges about like me making foods for lunches that you don't have to heat and that are good for you, and so those kind of things are going to be fun. So leave those down below, or you can send me a private message through YouTube and I will do that. I have also recently discovered a love for hollandaise sauce. Now listen, I had Eggs Benedict when I was a kid and I hated it. I thought it was disgusting. I don't know what happened because it's delicious. So I thought I would challenge myself to make Eggs Benedict, not easy, and make it a little bit lighter and gluten-free. Instead of the English muffin, I'm going to make a chickpea and quinoa patty that's like going to be sauteed on either side, crispy and delicious. And then we're going to have our poached egg. I'll teach you how to make a poached egg. And kind of a lighter version of hollandaise sauce. So delicious. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is make your quinoa. Now quinoa is this little grain. It looks weird. It kind of looks like couscous a little bit, but it takes a lot longer to cook. And it's really good for you, and it's a complete protein. So if you are vegetarian and you eat eggs, which they have so many names for those nowadays. It's like ovo something. And this will be perfect for you because there will be no ham. I'm not doing any of that. Your base, which is going to be this delicious patty, is going to be a complete protein. So you're going to make the quinoa. Now here's the thing. I'm going to put a link down below with the recipe I use to make quinoa, which it took me a while to get it perfected. I don't know why. I can cook a lot of things, but I sucked at rice for a long time until you figure out the right proportions. It's basically 1 to 1 1/4. 1 cup of dry quinoa. You're going to have to soak it for 15 minutes and then drain all the water out of it, and then put it in a pot with 1 cup of this and 1 1/4 cup of liquid. You can use any kind of broth you have. You can use vegetarian broth, chicken broth. You could use straight water if you wanted to with some herbs. It's up to you. But it's going to take on and absorb the flavor that you use. And here's what I did. I already made it, but here's what I did. I took a whole red pepper, fresh red pepper, cut it up, put it into my, not like this, but I cut it up, put it into my little blendery thing, put a cup of water in there, and then blended the crap out of it so that it was basically like a liquid. And then that's what I cooked my quinoa. It soaked up all that red pepper flavor. I put a little salt in there. Yummy. I'm just going to dump it in a bowl. Some people want to dump all the ingredients into the pot. I think when you dump it into the bowl, it's immediately going to start to temper it, meaning it's going to start to cool it out. Because we don't want it super, super hot, or it's going to kind of cook before we can really do what we need to do to it. Some other things I'm going to add to it. I'm going to add some cornmeal. This is gluten-free. You just got to make sure. Sometimes on the package, it'll say, you know, processed in the plant that uses, or that also processes gluten products or gluten-y products. So that's just going to give us a little bit of thickness and absorb some of that liquid. Take some chickpeas. These are canned. You can really use kind of any bean that you like. And you don't really have to blend it, but I like hummus and like that consistency, so I'm going to do that. And just for my liquid, I'm going to use 1 egg, and that's going to be our binder. Just crack an egg in there, and we're going to blend it. If it's not enough liquid, see how it's all kind of sticking and not shut, I'm just add like a tablespoon of water. And we're just going to add that mixture to our quinoa. Get that all incorporated. I'm going to add to that some salt, some fresh cracked pepper. I'm going to add a little bit of mustard, which is, it's dried mustard. It's just going to give it a little bit of flavor. Not too much, about a tablespoon. And some garlic, duh. This is why I love cooking and not so much baking, because you can kind of change things on the fly. See how this is like a little bit, it's very loose like that? I want it to be a little firmer, almost like a dough. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of the cornmeal, because again, it's going to absorb the liquid and give me more of a, like a cookie batter is the consistency I'm looking for. And the cornmeal is going to add a little bit of sweetness, it's going to add to the flavor. So you have to worry, it's not like white flour, which is going to make it taste pasty and gross. How it's like staying in a ball, it's not running back into the bowl. Okay, so I got this red pepper, chickpea mixture, and I'm going to make some patties. All we're going to do is heat up this little frying pan. I feel like a mad scientist. Add a couple of teaspoons of olive oil to the bottom of your little pan. So now we're just going to, I heated up that oil, and now I'm just going to make little patties, and I'm going to cook them just like I cook pancakes. You want that sizzle. You want it to start heating up your patty immediately. You don't want it to be lukewarm, because that patty's going to sit in there and absorb all that oil, and it's not going to get crispy. Those edges will start to brown a little bit. Once it starts to creep up the edges, that's when we want to flip it. Alright, get your spatula underneath there. Flip. That's how yummy that is. So I'm just going to start the water to make our poached egg, which I'm a little bit nervous about. But we're going to get that started, kind of get it to a little simmer, and then we're ready to go in just a minute. Alright, now I'm about to admit something to you. I've never poached an egg. This is going to be a live trial by fire. And I read about it, so let's hope that I can do it properly. But the first thing I'm going to do is add just a little bit of vinegar to my water. Now you want the water to not be a huge pot of water. You want about 3 inches of water. I'm going to add just a little bit of white vinegar. The reason we add white vinegar is because the water is going to be on like that simmer, it's going to be really, really hot. The egg white wants to start cooking immediately, but before it can start cooking, it kind of disperses. Have you ever seen like the whites kind of go all over the place like egg drop soup? Whereas the vinegar makes it go even faster, and it will make the egg whites harden almost immediately. Now, here's the other trick that I read about. Let's hope it works. So I'm going to take my egg, and I'm going to crack it into a dish. Number one, you can make sure that the yolk is intact. Plus, I'm not cracking it and dropping it into the water. I'm going to ease it into the water. That way I make sure it all kind of stays together. So I don't wash my pot of water trying to make it boil. I'm just curious, what have you guys been up to? What are you reading? I know I didn't talk about books, but what are you guys reading? I feel like I have a ton of things on my Kindle right now, and I haven't been reading near as much as I should be. So I'm curious what you guys are reading. What's going on? What's good? What's old? What's new? What we're looking for is not like it to be like a crazy rolling boil. I want like a simmer. So bubbles, as soon as the bubbles start to come up to the top and go bloop, 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 that's what we want. All right, see how all those bubbles are coming up to the top? You're gonna take your dish, you're gonna dip the edge of the bowl down under the rim of the water, and then let the egg go. Should start to congeal immediately. Now this is where timing comes in. Eggs are so much about timing. I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes. And I'm not going to touch that egg. Not even a little bit. And just let it cook. It's poaching. Okay. The timer went off after 2 minutes. Now, the book says, or like the recipes always say, you can poach an egg from 2 to 4 minutes depending on how hard you want the yolk. Now, if you look at it and just touch it a little with your finger, it's probably a little too soft. Now, of course, I'm going to burn my fingers up. If you want a runny yolk to kind of run into all over your yummy ingredients, you can take it out about now. All right, let's do this. See, look at, see how like kind of runny that is still? I'm going to let that cook for another like 30 seconds. Be gentle. Ooh, okay, see, that's perfect. I'm just going to set this aside so we can make our sauce. Okay, now here's the beautiest thing. I like pots and pans that do double duty. Is now I'm going to use a bowl to make my sauce. But I'm going to use the same pan I used for my egg because it's got boiling water in it. We're going to put that on top of it to help us make our sauce. Make sure that the bowl you used, you don't want the bowl touching the water. I'm going to be using, now again, this is a skinny version of hollandaise. Hollandaise, if you've never had it, is delicious. It's basically butter, egg, and lemon juice, and some other little things. But we're going to make this a little skinnier and just as delicious. I'm going to use some plain yogurt. This is just a 1/4 cup of plain yogurt. You could use Greek yogurt. Just make sure it's plain. I'm going to add to it an egg. So we've got yogurt, 1 egg. I'm going to incorporate those together. Get them good and blended. It's already starting to take on the color of hollandaise. Yummy. And I've got fresh lemon. I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of lemon juice. Right. A sprinkle of salt. Sprinkle of pepper. That's all incorporated. Now we're going to move this to our boiling water. Heating that up. And while that's starting to warm up, I cut just a 1/2 tablespoon of butter. That's going to give it a beautiful, like creamy, even creamier, like rich flavor without using 3 tablespoons. Don't get me wrong, I like the real thing, but oh boy. Just added my pat of butter. I'm just going to keep it moving. You want to keep it moving because you don't want the sauce to break, meaning to separate. I want to cook it just long enough to get the egg cooked. It'll start to thicken and that butter will melt. And it'll be ready to eat. And you want to serve this right away because it'll get too thick and all gross and congealed. Okay, so I'm still keeping an eye on my sauce. I'm still beating it with my little beater. But I've got one of those quinoa patties that we made with the red pepper and the garlic and all those yummy flavors. I've got my poached egg that I'm extremely proud of. And I'm going to put that on top of our patty. And again, traditionally, Eggs Benedict is an English muffin with a slice of ham. But we're going to make this a little better for you and a complete protein without all that extra gluten and stuff that's bad for you. It's going to be just as yummy. Don't you worry. Oh, I'm just going to give my sauce an extra little shimmy shake of salt. It's all about what you like. I like a little bit of extra seasoning, a little salt and pepper. Look at that beautiful sauce. Now this is something you could use on top of vegetables, on like a crab dish would be yummy if there was like a crab hollandaise version. Take our pretty little Eggs Benedict. We're going to pour that gorgeous sauce right over the top. That's why the patty doesn't have to be perfect either, because it's going to have that pretty sauce on top of it. Pretty! Gonna sprinkle just a little paprika on top because that seems to be the fancy thing to do. Woo! It's delicious time. Now let's see if our egg has any runny yolk in it. I feel like I'm on MasterChef. Look at it! Oh my god, you have no idea how excited I am about that. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Sorry, I'm having a moment. Okay, so you got that gooey yolk. I've got that crispy patty, which is simulating our crispy egg McMuffin. Not egg McMuffin. What's it called? English muffin. It's so much better for you. That's super yummy. It's like tangy because you get a little bit of that lemon, but because you have the creaminess of the yogurt and that kind of like lusciousness of the egg, it kind of balances everything out. That's fantastical. Eggs Benedict, a la Gretchen, gluten-free, and vegetarian. It's so good to be back. I love you guys. Don't forget to give me your suggestions below or in the private message. And I will see you very soon on Noms.
From classics to children's books, you never know what she's gonna cook when Gretchen makes novel Noms.